24 घंटे के अंदर हमारे देश में 2 ओमिक्रॉन वेरिएंट के केस हमारे इस नेटवर्क के द्वारा डिटेक्ट किए गए हैं कर्नाटक में।
We have already discussed with our experts. Supposing if it comes, what should be done? And all
Okay.
those things. So we are prepared.
Hello everyone, good evening. I'm Shreya Dhondial. It's now official. The Omicron has arrived in India. The Health Ministry today has confirmed that 2 cases of Omicron have been detected in the state of Karnataka. A 66-year-old man with a travel history to South Africa is the first. The other is a 46-year-old male health worker who has no travel history. One is fully vaccinated, the other is partially vaccinated, which means 1 dose. The positive news is that, much like the rest of the world, both these patients who are carrying the Omicron variant are displaying mild symptoms.
24 घंटे के अंदर हमारे देश में 2 ओमिक्रॉन वेरिएंट के केस हमारे इस नेटवर्क के द्वारा डिटेक्ट किए गए हैं कर्नाटक में, जिसकी रिपोर्ट कल रात काफी लेट आई थी। उसमें से एक केस 66 साल के एक मेल हैं, दूसरा केस 46 साल के एक मेल हैं। और जैसे कि हमारा प्रोटोकॉल है, ना कि हमारे इंसाकॉग नेटवर्क ने उसको समय पर डिटेक्ट किया, बल्कि एज ए प्रोटोकॉल, एज ए प्रैक्टिस जो हमारी कॉन्टैक्ट ट्रेसिंग की पद्धति भी शुरू हुई है, और जितने उनके प्राइमरी कॉन्टैक्ट्स हैं और जितने सेकेंडरी कॉन्टैक्ट हैं, उन सबको ट्रेस कर लिया गया है और उन सबकी टेस्टिंग करके उनको एज पर प्रोटोकॉल हम कोऑर्डिनेट कर रहे हैं।
We need not panic, but awareness is absolutely essential. COVID appropriate behavior is required. Use of masks and not organizing mass gatherings will help breaking the chain of transmission of Omicron. Increased vaccine uptake is the need of the hour.
Let me go straight across to our reporters who are tracking the story. Runjhun Sharma tracks the Health Ministry for us. She's joining us live from the national capital. Deepa Balakrishnan live with us from Bangalore. Deepa, I'm coming to you first. Some details are now available. Of the 2 people who are carrying the Omicron variant, one has a travel history of South Africa and the other doesn't. This is interesting. Were these 2 in contact? Are they relatives? What do we know? Is there anything else that we know?
They are completely unrelated to each other. The first one was tested. He tested positive soon after arrival from South Africa on the 20th of November. Now, since he was isolated right after that, his contact tracing was done. All his contacts have tested negative. That is one good news. Secondly, in fact, he tested negative very soon after, within a few days after, and on the 27th, 7 days after he tested, he arrived in Bengaluru. He was here on a business visit. He has gone back to Dubai. So he was allowed to travel back, because anyone who's tested negative after this, after the few days of isolation is allowed to travel. Now, the second case is more interesting. 46-year-old male health worker, and his genome sequence report also says that he has tested positive for the variant. Now, a lot of primary, secondary contacts were isolated. 13 primary contacts, of whom 3 have tested positive, but the genome sequence results are yet to come. Another 205 secondary contacts, of whom 3 have tested positive. All these 5 people who've tested positive for COVID-19 virus have been isolated, but there is the result of whether they're carrying the Omicron variant is yet to come, because that takes time. It takes 3 to 4 days, sometimes. Now, there are 4 genome testing sequencing facilities here in Karnataka. It's going to be enhanced to about 8 very soon, from what we hear from the health department sources. The second thing that we hear from the health department is that this patient who has tested positive for Omicron variant will now be shifted to the government-run Bowring Hospital. Though he is mildly symptomatic, he is not exhibiting any severe symptoms, he is going to be moved to a different facility and not be under home isolation, just as a precautionary measure. So from now on, this hospital will be taken as the main nodal center for the Orient, at least for now. As long as the number of cases are still under control.
Runjhun, come in here. Interesting that both the cases that are being reported from the state of Karnataka completely unrelated. One who had a travel history from South Africa, the other who doesn't have any travel history at all. So the question is, was Omicron then the variant present in India much before this case from Dubai was detected?
That's $1 million question, Shreya, really, and I think we would need the health officials to give more details on that. What we can definitely confirm to you is one of the passengers who'd come in, the 66-year-old passenger who'd come in from South Africa. He had a history from that particular region, tested positive for the Omicron variant, but the other one, the 46-year-old one, has no history whatsoever. Also, this particular person is a healthcare worker. That's what we can tell you. About 160 contacts of this particular person was traced, along with the family members, of course. 5 of them have tested positive. Will they be Omicron positive? Most likely, but we will have to wait for the genome sequencing. Having said that, remember, these are just 2 cases. There are several other genome sequencing results that are still awaited. For example, in Delhi, at least 4 people are still in the LNJP hospital, tested positive for the SARS-CoV-2 virus, have a travel history, but the genome sequencing is something, the result for which is awaited. Usually it takes about 2 to 3 days, Shreya, but in the coming few days, it looks like there will be some more cases of the Omicron variant. Having said that, the government and experts still maintain that COVID-appropriate behavior and vaccinations remain our best bet.
Okay. Thank you very much, Runjhun. We let it go there. Thank you very much to Deepa as well. Let me straight away go to Dr. Narendra Kumar Mehta, who's a former Dean of the All India Institute of Medical Sciences and the National Chair of the ICMR, joining us on the broadcast. Doctor, thank you, first of all, very much for your time here on CNN News 18. Of what we have seen as far as South Africa's experience is concerned in the last 3 weeks, tell us why we don't need to panic, because our default reaction to every variant is panic, but in this case, very clearly, that panic is not required.
Yes, Shreya, I don't think there is anything to worry about. There is no need to go into panic mode. 24 countries had already seen this virus, and we were waiting to see it in India, and it has come. So I don't think there's anything to worry about, because the point is that the data that we have seen so far from South Africa or other countries around the world indicates to us, although this virus could actually be more contagious, but it is really not very pathogenic. It is not going to cause a very serious disease, because the symptoms that we've seen so far are very mild type. So when we talk of a worst case or a best case of the virus or the new virus, the best case, of course, is it's not contagious and it gives only a very mild infection. The worst is, of course, like we saw in April and May, the Delta type. This is not definitely going to be Delta type. It's not going to cause a very serious 3rd wave or 4th wave and all. It's a very mild one, but at the same time, we have to be very careful and make sure that we sort of test everyone who comes from those at risk countries.
Okay, so Doctor,
and I'm very happy to see that our INSACOG network has done extremely well, that in a matter of days, that we have found these 2 individuals over there.
So, Doctor, very
and the
quickly,
other point
then,
that
can I
you
quickly
were
ask
talking
you,
about earlier,
Doctor, can I ask you this one question?
Has had no.
Doctor, can I ask you this one question? Because this is something that is very intriguing. There are some doctors who are saying actually Omicron could be a silver lining if it manages to overtake the Delta variant, because yes, it is more infectious, but if you look at the experience from South Africa, fewer hospitalizations and no deaths.
Actually, Shreya, some of my experts are saying that Omicron could actually be welcome, actually, because it is contagious, but it's not going to cause a very serious infection. It could become like a natural vaccine for us. But I think time will tell. I think we have to wait for at least a week or 10 days more when more and more data has become available to us, because we need to know what happens to these people who get infected after a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks over there. Do they develop any symptoms later on?
Okay.
And I think once that the data becomes available, what At this point of time, it looks like a very mild infection.
Okay, yes. I have 20 seconds with me, sir. You were making a point about the second patient we were talking about, the 46-year-old healthcare worker, and how he is carrying the Omicron variant, given that he has no travel history and has no relation to the first person who has tested positive.
Yes, I was trying to make that point. I was trying to make that point because we've seen also in Holland. Holland has shown us that even prior to the cases reported in South Africa, they had their owns over there. So it's not just that it is originating from South Africa. It could actually be anywhere, because in South Africa also you see that this virus, the new variant has actually come out of the very highly immunocompromised individuals. By the way, you know that nearly 90 lakh people in South Africa have HIV infection.
Correct.
And their immune system is very, very low. So people who are immunocompromised and who have not taken any vaccine yet, and you know that in South Africa the vaccination rate, of course, is very low. They are the ones where this new variant can actually harbor.
Okay.
So we don't know. I think more and more data will need to be seen, but it is really
it could be
that has to be discussed
yeah, and
about.
it could be.
The second case
you're saying it could be
India,
a blessing in disguise. Doctors like you are actually saying this could end up being, a blessing in disguise. Dr. Mehra, I've completely run out of time. Thank you very much for your inputs here on Network 18. The first case, just by the way, was not reported in South Africa. It was actually reported in Botswana. And South Africa is saying there is no saying whether the virus actually originated here or somewhere else. We were just the first ones to inform the world about it. Now, we are hearing a first reaction from Karnataka's Chief Minister as well, after 2 cases of the Omicron variant, I beg your pardon, were detected in his state. He's speaking exclusively to Zaka Jacob.
So, Mr. Bommai, thank you very much for joining us here on Chaupal. Welcome back to Delhi. We've just got word from the Union Health Ministry. You must have also got information that they've just confirmed 2 cases of Omicron variant in India, and both have come from Karnataka. What is the latest information you can share with our viewers here?
No, in fact, these 2 cases of people who have traveled from South Africa last week.
Okay.
We have been testing all the people who come from all these 13 countries. And when we tested, out of that, 1 strain was a little different. That's why we sent to NCBS in Delhi for a complete genome test. And that test has come today. In fact, I was there with the Union Health Minister about a few hours ago. But now it has come. So we are waiting for all the details, number 1. Number 2, we have to have a different protocol if need be. And we have already discussed with our experts, supposing if it comes, what should be done and all those things. So we are prepared. And as far as this strain is concerned, a lot of experts have said that this is a strain where it will not have a serious effect.
Yes.
Especially the hospitalization and ICU, but it spreads fast. So we have to concentrate in our tracking, tracing, testing, as well as social behaviors, and we have to restrict all people getting together in a large number. We have to be a little more careful. So that's a challenge.
So for the benefit of our viewers here also, I'll ask you this also in Hindi because of Omicron. You said कि आपको changes करने पड़ेंगे protocol में. तो क्या changes आप सोच रहे हैं? Because at the same time आपको ये भी balance करना पड़ेगा कि lives, livelihoods, अभी मतलब civil aviation minister यहाँ थे, वो कह रहे थे कि you can't just randomly stop international travel ban नहीं लगा सकते हैं. तो in light of these 2 new cases, आप क्या changes सोच रहे हैं कर्नाटका में?
देखो, इस जड़ को पकड़ना है. ये जड़ फॉरेन ट्रैवलर्स के है. तो ये जो 13 कंट्रीज जहां ये ओमिक्रॉन बहुत तेजी से चल रहा है, उसको जो भी आएगा वो कंट्री से उसको 100% टेस्ट करना पड़ेगा। और खास करके कुछ ऐसे फ्लाइट्स है जो इंटरनेशनल फ्लाइट्स है, यहाँ सब देश के लोग उसमें आते हैं, जैसे दुबई से आते हैं।
Yes.
दुबई से तो अफ्रीका से भी आता है, यूरोप से भी आता है, गल्फ कंट्री से भी आता है, इंडिया से भी आता है, एशिया भी आता है। तो ऐसे फ्लाइट्स के ऊपर हमारा पूरा ध्यान रहना चाहिए, टेस्टिंग करना चाहिए। एंड वंस वी टेस्ट, यू शुड नॉट रेस्ट। We should completely track them down, their accomplices, where they stay, and we have to compulsory quarantine them even after testing, at
Yes.
least for 7 days, and have a 7th day test. Then only you can think of something, because वो एक आदमी से पूरा एक नगर का या एक पूरा स्टेट का लोगों को तकलीफ नहीं होना चाहिए।
Correct.
ये हमारा व्यू है, और स्ट्रांगली हम लगाएंगे कि फॉरेन नेशनल्स को अगर आना पड़ेगा तो स्वस्थ आना पड़ेगा।
Correct.
हमारे लोगों की जो हेल्थ है, स्वास्थ्य है, उसको रक्षा करना हमारा कर्तव्य है। उस पे हम पीछे नहीं हटेंगे।
देख, क्या अभी तो जो रिस्ट्रिक्शन जो है 12 या 13 कंट्रीज जैसे आपने बताया, क्या आप सोच रहे हैं कि इसको बढ़ाएं? You want to increase the number of countries from where people are getting tested?
That all depends on the informations we get. If it increases the number of countries, then we have to. See, we have to learn a lessons. All our previous lessons are, the major COVID has started from outside.
Yeah.
And unless until we restrict them, otherwise you have to pay a very heavy price in people's life, economy, hospital infrastructure, oxygen, medicines, ICU. There are so many other issues. So if you nip it in the bud, then a lot of things, all these kind of pressures can be stopped.
So this morning you were in Parliament. I believe you met with the Health Minister. One of the things that you've been talking about is कि जो डॉक्टर्स हैं, हेल्थ केयर वर्कर्स हैं, उनके लिए बूस्टर डोज लगवाए जाएं। तो उस विषय में आपका क्या राय है, और स्वास्थ्य मंत्री ने आपको क्या बताया?
देखो, ये जो हमारे हेल्थ वर्कर्स है, फ्रंटलाइन वर्कर्स है, उन्होंने सबसे पहले वैक्सीनेशन किया और सेकेंड डोज भी सबसे पहले किया है। अभी 6 महीने तो ज़्यादा हो गया है। तो अभी ये नया स्ट्रेन आ रहा है, इसके बैकग्राउंड पे हमको हमारी हेल्थ वर्कर्स को सेफ रखना हमारा पहला कर्तव्य। अगर हेल्थ वर्कर सेफ है तो बाकी सब सेफ हो जाएंगे। सो उसके लिए हम ऐसे सोच रहे हैं और बातचीत भी किया है। उन्होंने बताया कि खास करके हेल्थ वर्कर्स को रक्षा करने के लिए जो भी करना चाहिए हम पूरा कोशिश करेंगे। इसके ऊपर हम एक्सपर्ट से चर्चा करेंगे और एक नतीजे पे आएंगे और आपको भी बताएंगे, और विल गिव द न्यू गाइडलाइंस फॉर द स्टेट्स आल्सो।
Sure. Let's go to some other issues. Bangalore is known as the IT city. As companies are now planning to reopen starting from January onwards, are you also reimagining, the contribution of industry, IT, investment to jobs? This is a pet topic for you. You feel that the amount of jobs being created and the amount of investment that's coming, there is a mismatch. But how do you address that?
See, now time has come that we should really think of balancing the capital and employment. The real movers and shakers of economy are the bottom of the pyramid. For example, as a chief minister, I might give some money to lay a road. Unless until somebody lays that tar on that road, the road is not made. And once the road is made, then vehicles move, economy also moves. Therefore, the employment is very important. People are important in the hierarchy of economy. So, I am coming out with a policy, employment policy.
Okay.
See, everybody puts in capital based on his need of the project.
Mm-hmm.
But as my need is jobs of my people.
Yes.
So, I continue the incentives for the capital investment. There will be no change.
Okay.
But there will be special incentives, those who give more employment. Supposing people give jobs for 100 people,
Okay.
there will be X incentive. Supposing people give for 1,000 people, there will be more incentives. So we incentive as the job giver who gives more job. And I want per capita income of my state has to improve. My theory is per capita income will lead to the GDP growth.
Per capita income increases,
See,
GDP will increase.
GDP growth doesn't mean that the wealth is there for everybody.
Yeah.
For example, my GDP growth of my state is contributed by 30 to 35% of the population. Still 65% doesn't contribute because they are in just sustainable income or sustainable economy where they work for their livelihoods. So I want more people to come out of that, and their economy should improve, their per capita should improve. They should also be in a comfortable position as well as add to the GDP of the state. So it's looking from the bottom.
You were talking about this 60% that depends on sustainable living, or a large proportion of them are farmers or from farmer families. Your government in the last 4 months, you've introduced this scholarship for farmer children.
Yeah.
What is the thinking behind that?
See, I move a lot with the farmers' villages. Whenever I go to my villages, supposing there are 100 houses, most of them are tile-roofed huts. But there will be few houses, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, who are RCC. So I got interested. I asked a lot of people that why these people are putting RCC, why others are tile-roofed. The answer came that those who are in RCC, some member of that family is working elsewhere other than the farm. He has got a government job or a private job or a contract, or is doing some small business. So I found that people who do the job outside the farming are getting more benefits.
Okay.
And that can come only through education. You are educated, then you are employed. Therefore, I said that I have to empower the farmer through education of his children. And with this philosophy, that was my first decision, to give scholarship for the children from 12th standard up to the PG.
Okay.
And all professional courses which they want to go. So I earmarked 1,000 crores of rupees. Nearly 20 lakh farmer children will be enrolled in 1 year now.
Let's come to a couple of political questions. Recently, there was a lot of chatter around the by-elections. One seat, you won very, very comfortably. The other seat in your home district, you lost. What are the lessons you've learned from that?
I have learned 2 lessons from that. One is 100% connectivity with the constituency is necessary.
Okay.
The constituency which we lost by very low margin, it was held by a very senior leader who was MLA for 6 times, and he was unwell for last 2 years. And there was no connectivity with the people and the party or anybody else. So that is one thing. And I don't want to take away the credit of the candidate, my opposite candidate. He was very well connected. He did the hard work, especially COVID times and all. So we lost in the connectivity.
Okay.
So the lesson what I have learnt is be connected with the people.
Sir, one final word. You are, of course, the son of the legendary Chief Minister, Mr. S.R. Bommai. You are now in that same seat. will he be happy with Basavaraj's performance over the last 4 months?
He was always a people's man. If people of Karnataka are happy, then he'll be happy.
Okay, if people of Karnataka are happy, he will be happy.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're confident that you can return to power in the 2023 election?
Certainly. I have got more than 1 year.
Mhm.
I have confidence. I have my vision. I got my programs. And I have got my own way of implementing. And I am in total connect with the people. So I am confident that I'll bring back BJP back to power in 2023.
All right. Mr. Basavaraj Bommai, thank you so much for speaking with us here on Chopal.